Good morning guys, it's Chris the Ultimate Recycler here. We have a lot of bits and pieces to do today. I just have to tidy up a lot of e-waste or electrical loose ends. There's a repair job, there's a TV to test, there's a few decisions to be made. So I thought I might as well bring you with me on this another day in the life of the Ultimate Recycler, given that our shop has to be cleaned up eventually. You know, if you've been following our channel, you know all about that. But we have to start making some headway into cleaning up stuff at the shop, and I'm really keen to get there and start filming unboxing stuff in the storage room. But I've just got all these loose ends to tidy up. Now, some of the stuff has come from the shop. I'll show you what I mean. I have been packing up some tubs of random electrical stuff that has just been scattered everywhere. It wasn't really worth filming, but we'll have to go through it and see what we're going to do with it. There's a whole heap of CD-ROMs out of vintage computers here. The ones that are sort of around the year 2000 and a bit earlier, predominantly the beige coloured ones, I think I might actually look at eBaying them, because they seem to be bringing more and more money. Every time I search for them online, they seem to be selling a bit, you know, for a reasonable amount. They're not worth much for scrap. I have got a stack of them in the shop, which are more of these modern ones. What date's this one? They usually have a date on them. April 2004. So around about this vintage and onwards, I've been putting them in the shop for $5 each, untested. I have sold one or two. I might as well keep doing that for now, because, as I said, they're not worth anything much for scrap, and they're certainly not worth eBaying. And if we're left with them at the end, well, I will scrap them, even if they just go to e-waste. There's a battery charger there I've got to test, because that can go back to the shop and be sold. There's a couple more iPads that I have to... well, they're probably locked, and that reminds me, I'll have to show you the ones I got from the school, and we did send back over to see if they could unlock them. I'll tell you about that in a minute. There's an AWA clock radio iPod dock, probably not worth much. Random chargers and things. I brought them home so I can check them out here. I still have to sort out these school laptops. We'll get onto those soon. I still have a box of old light fittings. These are like grow lights with a metal hydride or something. I forget what they're actually called. I've got to work out what to do with those. I brought home my boxes of remote controls for TVs and things, because I'm doing all that sort of stuff here. Don't need that at the shop. We still have 3 servers to scrap out. I have a large TV here, a 65-inch Bourne TV, that a good customer asked me if I'd try and... Well, he had to go at fixing himself and he wasn't getting anywhere. We know what the problem is. It's the input section for the antenna, the RF in, and he's made a bit of a job of it, and it's not working. So you can decide what sort of job that was in your own words. I have to take the cover off and see if we can sort that out for him. I'm not really in a position to do repairs for people, but this was something we've been talking about for a while, and I couldn't not do it. I have this TIAC CRT monitor, well, TV to check. Hopefully that goes. I have a microwave to scrap out. There's a box of antique oil lamps and shades and things in here. I'm going to put them aside, because once the shop's finished with, I am planning to restore a lot of those, and I could probably sell those online or even at markets or something. I don't want to quit them cheaply, and I've got a lot of parts to make up complete ones. I have to check this clock and see if we can get that to work, and I'll just sell that quickly. I have done a couple of things. This soldering iron was at the shop. I've cleaned it up, tested it. That's right to be sold. This was dropped in just the other day, and even though I'm not taking e-waste anymore, when the guy said a CRT monitor, I sort of said, oh yeah, throw it in the van. I've checked it out, it works perfectly. I think that's probably nearly a $100 monitor, so that was worth taking. I'll take that to the shop. There's a DVD player here that I have tested, and that works. Now, these all came from the shop as well. They've been stacked in drawers and, well, shelves and in the back storeroom, and I was tripping over them. They were actually piled up in the walkway. Luckily, they didn't get wet from the flooding we had. I'll go through and check all those. Some of them might just be scrapped. Some of them, hopefully, I have remote controls for. So I've got to test all those as well. And that's just to keep the deck clean. I need to keep it tidy and neat. Probably the TV is something I need to get off first. And what was I going to do? Oh yeah, we'll show you about those iPad minis that I got from the school. So in the last lot of e-waste I got from the school here, there was these Apple iPad minis. I think they're first generation. They're getting back a bit, but they work perfectly. And it was such a shame to just throw them out. There's not much value in them for me. They're not worth scrapping out. They're mostly an aluminium case and a large LCD screen. But they all do. I put a charger on them. They all charged up, and I could not get into them because they were actually, well, some of them actually came up with a password lock. Others came up with an education department email that you had to log in. And I took them back to the school, and I did mention that. And the tech guy was nice enough to have a look at them for me, because we agreed it's just such a waste, such a shame these things just have to be thrown out. He did have a look, and he left a note. It just said can't be reset. I did speak to him, and he said he didn't have the authority to get in and take them off the Apple ID. I don't know, I've never had Apple products, but they're registered through a certain Apple ID, and you need to somehow, basically they're locked, and even if you reformat them to factory settings, they're essentially bricked. No one can use them because they're still linked to a certain Apple ID account, and that's just a real shame. So I don't know what I can do. The screens are obviously good. They all work. There's no broken screens. I think, what do we got here? 7 of them. That one's a white one. The others are the black and the charcoal grey. I think I might try them on eBay in case there's some people that can perhaps reuse the screens. They might be handy for parts. They're not going to be worth very much. I just can't bring myself to throw them into the e-waste when they're in perfect working order. They're just locked. So I'll run them through eBay. You'll see in a future episode how I go. I'll put the whole lot up at once. In fact, I think I might have a few other iPads. Maybe I'll just do one bulk listing for parts, see if I can get some value for them. Bit of an experiment, but yeah, I just don't want to throw them out. So wasteful. Apple, really, you need to have a better system. So I've extracted the main logic board from the TV. That was fine. In fact, most of the screws were still out. And the little box here where the antenna plugs into, and I have another board here to show you what it's supposed to look like, and I'll probably be using this one. The end socket breaks off. It's quite common. I've actually done a video on repairing one of those, and he tried to open the box up to solder a wire into the tab, which I think he actually did, and it worked for a while, but then it broke off, of course, because the cable wasn't supported and it was just hanging off the wire that was soldered on. So he's opened it up even more, and we've got to replace that whole box. Now, unfortunately, it looks like that's a crystal back there, and it's been levered off. I think it was surface mount. So, yeah, it looks like the leg is folded up underneath, and it went to that pad just there. So hopefully we can solder that back on. Hopefully there hasn't been any damage done to the little chip in there. I'm not going to be able to do much with that. But I'll remove the box. I'll try and fix the crystal. We'll remove the box from this one, and we'll try and do a transplant, and hopefully that gets him out of trouble. The little metal box that resembles an open sardine can has been extracted successfully. However, there is too much damage. You can see the crystal there with one end lifted up. So as he was levering or cutting, or however he opened the box with a screwdriver, that's obviously just got knocked. I think I could have soldered that back on. However, if I zoom in, and I'll try and hold the phone still, we have lots of collateral damage. There are MLCCs missing. There's one on an angle there. So they're little capacitors. There's surface mount, and it's really hard to hold the phone steady at this magnification. So there's numerous parts actually missing. Not sure what that was. Actually, that's probably where the wire was supposed to go, the tab for the antenna. The RF input probably went there. Now, I don't even know, I don't even know what this was. Some component that's broken one end. And there looks like other gouging here. So, too much. It looks like the chip's actually got a chip. It's copped a bit of damage. So, given that there's missing parts and it's microscopic surface mount stuff that I don't really play with, I'm going to say no, too much damage. Sorry, we can't repair it. I don't have another board that I know of, and the time involved on a relatively cheap TV just isn't worth it anyway. So I will save this one though, because I do use these boxes from time to time, and if we had have got to this early when the end, the socket first broke off. We could have done a transplant and saved the TV, but unfortunately there was a bit of collateral damage with a makeshift repair. So that's fine, I can cross it off my list. I better give him a call. I'll probably end up putting this board in with my mid-grade boards, and the rest of it, well, I guess I'll have to take it out at the transfer station unless he wants to pick it up and do that. Now my next TV challenge is much better. This one works nicely. This is the vintage CRT, TAC CRT. Sorry about the strobing, but I've just got it hooked up through a DVD player via my RF modulator, and it's going great. The only problems I have is that the remote that came with it is a TAC. It looks to be around about the right vintage, but it's not the right remote for the TV. And because of that, I don't actually have any controls. There are some controls behind here, and we do have volume here, but I don't have brightness, and the picture is a little bit dark. It has auto tuning and programming, but I don't have my other controls to adjust the picture. So I'd have to have a look through my boxes to see if we do have a proper remote for it. But anyway, even without a remote, I think that's at least $100, maybe $150 CRT. Needs a bit of a clean-up, but really it's not in bad condition. Moving on to the next item that was on the deck that we have to deal with was this old Sharp microwave. I didn't even bother testing it. It's just too old to try and sell. So straight onto the bench to be scrapped. The cabinet there, I'm just going to use as a cavity for putting all of these bits of random pressing steel in. It just helps me store them, and they can just go out to the transfer station. That was loud. In one container. So other than the plastic door surround, there's really, and the keypad, but the electronics from behind it are gone. It's just all steel. It can go in the steel pile. What else did we get? The magnetron, the guts out of the magnetron, I'm just going to sell as irony aluminium. Same with the old capacitor. I didn't save any parts out of this one, except maybe the high voltage fuse, because it is such an old model. I won't use parts on any new microwave repairs. A little bit of hardware. I'll put the micro switches in a jar. All the terminals I clip off, I'll just put them in irony brass. I didn't weigh them, but they'll add up to be a little bit. The transformer and the motors, almost $10 there worth, so that's all right. A little bit of number 2 copper wire from out of the magnetron. And the magnets, which are the most desirable thing for me, I can get $5 each for these through the shop. Once the shop's finished, I don't know. Might be interesting to take them to a market and see if I can sell them. So there's 2 there. So that equals $10 worth of value. So I got $20 there, plus a bit of wire and a few bits of hardware that will go into jars. And it took me about 20 minutes. So $1 a minute's not a bad rate. And as I said, though, that does depend on if we can keep selling magnets down the track. So that deals with that microwave. Now this stack of gear that we looked at earlier in the video, I have been through it and I have processed some stuff. The Panasonic Blu-ray player here does work, and I found a remote for it. The LG DVD/CD player, I think that one is, does work fine, and that had a remote in the box that came with it, so that's good. They can both be sold. These couple here is an LG hard disk drive recorder, and it doesn't boot up, and I did take the cover off it, and there's some bulged capacitors on the power board, so I think I might like to try and do a repair on that one down the track. I did check out the model on eBay, and they seem to bring, it's older, but they seem to bring pretty reasonable money still. And the CD player at the, DVD, VCD and CD player at the bottom, the LG, does work fine, but the tray won't close unless you give it a little bit of a nudge. Everything else works okay, so that'll just be a sensor switch or a belt, and that has a remote, so I'll repair that down the track as well. These 3 I deemed not worthwhile. I did check the model numbers on eBay. They don't tend to bring much, even in good working order. They're quite old, and they're quite scuffed and scratched up and very dirty on the front. So I'm just going to scrap those 3. That will save me a bit of time. So we have some to sell, some to repair down the track, and some to scrap. As far as the scrap ones go, we won't do them in this video. I think I'll put them with the servers over here, and we'll just do a scrap video at some stage in the future. But we're getting rid of most of the stuff on the deck, making pretty good progress. Now next was to empty the tub with all the CD-ROMs in it, and I'm going to keep these ones and put them aside for potential eBay sales down the track. I think they're only going to get more sought after. These are in good condition. I can test them on my vintage computer here when the time comes, and they seem to get $30 or $40 or so on eBay each. So the beige face ones in good condition I'm going to stack away for now. We'll deal with them when the shop's finished and I'm looking for some eBay stuff. Some of the other ones I scrapped out. I just felt like scrapping. I put a few YouTube videos on the other night and it was just enjoyable scrapping stuff. So these are the more modern black ones that actually had a bit of corrosion on them, and one of them was black, but oh, here's the plastic part. Someone had sprayed it with black spray paint and sprayed the front of it black where it was a beige one. So I guess that was just a matter of cosmetics for someone. That's, I don't know where the front's gone now. But anyway, I scrapped those ones out. I didn't think they were worthwhile. And as I said, some of them were a bit rough and knocked around and scratched up, so I wasn't going to be able to sell them. What have I discovered? Well, they were kind of fun to scrap, but they're not worth going to any trouble to pull. I did 2 of them completely, and as you can see, we've got a big pile of pressing steel here, all the casings. I've got a bit of hardware and a few gears and things I kept. Lots of plastic. Some really tiny little motors. On some of them, the shafts that the lasers slide back and forward on, some of these are non-magnetic stainless steel, some of them are magnetic. The boards themselves, I think the more modern ones had the smaller boards. They're okay. They'll sell as mid-grade boards. Not worth a great deal, but they're nice boards. The older they get, the larger the boards seem to be. And a little bit of brass. Some of the worms for the worm drive are actually brass. Some of them aren't. And I'm left with 2 laser assemblies that I don't really know what to do with. I don't think they're of any real value. Let me know if you have a market for those, or you reckon there's something we could do with them. They'll probably just go in the e-waste bucket. So I've decided that it's not worth completely scrapping them because of all the plastic and everything you get out of them. There's really not much value. I did keep the rubber grommets and things as well, a little bit of hardware. In fact, not all that hardware's from these. There was some in that tub from the microwave I did earlier. So no value in scrapping them completely, but I did discover that taking the top panel off, which was pretty much just 4 screws, and then unplugging a few cables, and the boards just clipped in the back, pop out. You can get the board out of these in under a minute, probably around about 30 seconds if you're going for it. So it's probably worth grabbing them for that time. And then the whole rest of them can just go to e-waste. It's just not worth the fun. Well, it is fun pulling them apart. And if you're into micro scrapping, there's value there purely for enjoyment. But I didn't get anything worth really any more than a couple of cents for the time to pull them apart completely. But if you want a quick scrap, grab some value, just grab the main boards out of them. The rest of them can go to e-waste or just in your shred steel bin. So there we go. We've sorted out that. The battery charger was also in the same tub. I've tested that. It works fine. I just have to put another plug on one of these wires, and I think I have a spare one of these plugs. Oh, actually, I don't need another one. That just goes in there. There's only one plug. So I can fix that up and we'll sell that. Those old school chargers tend to get pretty good money, maybe $30, $40. You can use them on for electrolysis, those ones. And the last one of those I had in the shop sold very quickly. So that's sorted out all this stuff. What have we got to go next? Well, this large clock didn't need much work. I just put a new battery in it and it seems to be going fine. So that's great. We'll take that to the shop. Might go $20 or $30 on that, even though it's a bit stained on the face. I think a large clock like that will sell quite well. So I'll finish this video up here. It was really just about tidying up a lot of loose ends. I've still got the laptops to deal with, still got some scrapping to do with those servers and the electrical DVD players. And the clock decided to go to the floor, but it's still fine, nothing got broken. I need to clean up this, don't I? Okay, so we'll finish up now. We'll deal with those things in the future. There was another tub with some power supplies and bits and pieces. Oh, and there was some iPads and bits and pieces. We'll deal with them as well because I've got some other iPads and things to go. One final thing before we finish this video up. I recently did a unboxing of some crystal and glassware from the emergency storage shed, and I've managed to sell a few pieces pretty quickly, including the owl paperweight to 747 Forever. I think that's her username. So thank you very much for that. We did a deal there and it's been posted off, so that was good. The request was, though, to deal with that green toolbox up the top and the newspapers, because obviously it's prominent behind me in all my videos, which I do from this angle. Let's get them out of here now. Nothing special about the newspaper. It's purely something I kept for putting over my desk when I was doing a painting or something very oily. So I'll keep that because I need newspaper, but I'll take it from there. So, okay, we'll find a better spot for that. This toolbox is just a plastic Willow brand, actually, made in Australia. Willow are well known for their metalware, mainly kitchen stuff, tin plate stuff. In it we have a glass jar with, what's in that? Oh, some IC chips. Oh, and more of them. So these are IC chips I've got off circuit boards when I've been scrapping. I used to save a lot of them. I don't go to so much trouble anymore. E-Waste Ben used to quote a figure for them. I'm not sure if he still does. There's some more in a jar. I think they're EPROMs, actually, which are programmable chips. They've got a little window in them. And I'm not sure if they're still actually worth anything. Let's get one of these out and show you. So this little window, they usually have a sticker, a white sticker over the top. Some of them show gold and they do pay a better price for them. The silver ones aren't worth anything more than normal chips. So that's all that's in that. I'll have to check out if they're still worth anything or not. Let me know in the comments if any of you do collect chips off circuit boards and sell them for the precious metal recovery. Gold, palladium, silver. Apparently there's precious metal in them, but of course they take a bit to refine. And what am I going to do with this? Well, I probably don't really need it. I've got enough storage containers and tubs around here. We'll take that to the shop and we'll put $10 on it and it will be gone from the background. Okay, we'll wind up this video now. Thanks for watching. Another day. This was a multiple days in the life of the Ultimate Recycler compiled into one. But we've tidied up a lot of loose ends. That was the aim of the game here. Got a few more things to do around here. We do need to continue to clean this shed up a bit, but of course the focus is at the shop, and we'll pretty soon be doing videos in the storeroom unboxing stuff. So hang around for that one. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.